Hello, and welcome to this quick training on how to outsource your marketing in 45 days without drastically increasing your expenses. Now, if you're wondering who this is for, this course is going to be for multiple 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs who want to promote themselves to CEO and successfully outsource their marketing. That means that you have the time, the budget, and the desire to bring someone on to take marketing off your plate so you can actually get the F off the promotion hamster wheel. You're tired and I'm tired for you. So in this quick training, I'm going to show you the steps to be able to do that quickly in 45 days. So you're also here probably because you want to stop being the marketing brain in your business. You think about all of the ideas, you execute all of the ideas, and maybe you have somebody on your team that is doing some of the posting, some of the execution. Like you've hired some help. Maybe you have a VA or an online business manager or something like that, but you're really still pretty much involved in the day-to-day marketing. And you're relying heavily on Instagram and trying to DIY it all. You're trying to do reels, you're trying to figure out ads, you're trying to create carousels, you're doing all of the things, but you are super duper focused on Instagram as your main marketing channel and you're exhausted. This isn't for you. You could go ahead and click on out of this training if you do not have the budget or the urgency to hire somebody to handle your marketing in the next 45 days. So if you don't have at least $1,000, $2,000 to be able to start to delegate some of these things, if you're like, oh, maybe I'm just kind of watching this to see if like I can kind of do it. Save yourself the time, to be really honest. You're definitely going to need to have some sort of money set aside and some desire in order to be able to do this in 45 days and not keep procrastinating. So let's go over the different types of entrepreneurs that I meet and what they're up to in their day-to-day. So we have Rihanna. And Rihanna is stressed out. She is a marketing hostage. Baby girl is posting at Words on Reels. She is writing and approving captions, emails, copy, everything that her team or that she tries to outsource or delegate always somehow ends up back on her plate to approve if she's not the one creating it from scratch altogether. She's trying to think of content. She's brainstorming content calendars, trying to go live every week or every day because her sales depend on it, right? Her audience needs to see her. Maybe trying to figure out ads. She's up in Canva designing. She's really just doing all of the things in marketing, and it doesn't allow her to actually be a CEO and do the work required to actually grow her business and scale her business and get out of that day to day. Then we have Cleo. Cleo is a leader. She is a CEO. So she is spending most of her day documenting her vision and her goals. She's defining benchmarks for success. She's hiring and developing her team. She's thinking about things like profit margin and hiring needs and capital and thinking about how to intentionally design her day. She's not bogged down by the day-to-day execution of her marketing because she's spending her time doing a lot of high-level thinking and strategy to grow her business. So we have people like Rihanna who are, marketing hostages. And then we have people like Cleo who are CEOs and leaders. And then you have me. So I'm Emily Dela Cruz. If this is your first time meeting me, I am a fractional CMO for 7-figure brands, and I've been in the marketing industry for over a decade. I've worked directly with dozens of 7-figure CEOs, so I've reported into multiple 7-figure CEOs in the last decade, and I'm also a founder of 2 businesses myself. So when I tell you I know marketing, I know marketing. I have been the entire marketing team. I've been the one-woman show. I've also hired, managed, and trained marketing teams at multiple companies throughout my career before I ever ended up in the online training space. So trust me, you want to save yourself the headaches and the inefficiencies that I learned in terms of building a marketing team, trying to manage and retain them, and making sure that they hit KPIs without the CEO's constant involvement. And really, from all of my stress, from all of the things that I've learned throughout my career, the Promoted to CEO framework was born. And Promoted to CEO is just really the solution that I created for CEOs and founders who wanted to step away from doing all things marketing, but they just didn't have the time or the tools to do it quickly and successfully. They were running so fast, they were growing so quickly, they were working so hard that they didn't have time to actually sit down and think about, what should I be documenting in my business? What are the strategies that I should have in place to hand off when I hire somebody? What are the things that I need to provide in terms of guidelines or workflows in order for somebody to be able to come in, but also integrate very quickly into my team and start to quickly take some things off of my plate? So, throughout my time in hiring and managing team members, and then also my own experience as a marketing manager, CMO, and then eventually a business owner, I really developed a quick and easy process to be able to ditch the real honor approach, right? Move away from doing all the day to day stuff and really stop being held hostage by marketing for good. All right. And I'm going to break this all down because I really want better for you, sis. Like, you deserve better. Okay. So you're probably making one of these three mistakes. So if you take anything away from this training, is that it is absolutely possible for you to outsource your marketing in 45 days or less. But you're probably making some of these mistakes that are keeping you from being able to do that. And the biggest, saddest, most stressful mistake that I see is hiring a social media manager or OBM or virtual assistant to handle your marketing. Why is this the case? Because what ends up happening is you are so maxed out, you want to take things off of your plate, but you're still the marketing brain. So you still feel like you've created more work for yourself because the people that you've tried to hire, like the virtual assistant or the social media manager, are constantly still coming to you for the ideas, still coming to you to create the content, still coming to you for all of your input. So it doesn't actually feel like you've outsourced anything because now you are being a slave to the feedback loop of your team and the ideation loop of your team. So that's one thing that you want to get out of immediately. And I want you to think about your marketing team like this. Let's pretend that you own a restaurant. You're the owner of a restaurant, you just opened a restaurant, and you're thinking about what needs to happen to help your restaurant run. So immediately you need to have some sort of head chef, somebody that's going to come in and be able to create a menu, do a grocery list, think about what the theme of your restaurant is going to be, and really set the tone for what is going out to your customers when they're coming to eat at the restaurant, right? Then you have your actual cooks, your prep cooks, your sous chefs, people who are doing the plating, the design, right? These are the people that put together all of the elements that the chef has outlined. Then we have the waiters. Once things are plated, you're going to need somebody that's going to take things from the back end, right? People who are going to take something that's in the kitchen and bring it out to the front of the house, which is the actual dining room in your restaurant where your customers are actually going to eat, right? So you're going to need somebody who's going to be doing the strategic planning. You're going to need somebody that's going to be doing the design, the presentation, the cooking, the plating. And then you're going to need somebody who's going to be doing the execution and the delivery of it all. The thing that I see most often is that social media managers can only do so much for your social media account, but it doesn't take into consideration other things like emails, promotions, and other parts of your integrated marketing strategy. So you have a very one angle approach to your marketing. Then, if you hire somebody like a VA or an OBM, they might be really great at execution and delivery, right? They might be great at taking the plates from the back of the house, right? All the back end marketing, all the things that are being created on the back end, they're great at taking that and scheduling it out, right? They're scheduling the emails. They might be setting up landing pages. They might be posting on social media, but they don't actually always have the skill set to do the actual design or presentation or to do the strategic planning. So then you're left doing that too, right? So it's no wonder that you're overwhelmed and you're stressed out because you keep having to play multiple roles. And then the people that you hire are just delivering upon what you are responsible to create. So what I want to invite you to do is to flip it, right? You want to replace yourself as the head chef. right? You want to actually be the business owner. You want to own the restaurant. So you need to find a head chef. You need to find somebody who is good at strategic planning and can tell you what it is that you need to do, can look at your business and tell you what your marketing plan should be, tell you what your strategy should be, and really be able to work with you to execute the vision that you have for your business. You're going to need some prep cooks. You're going to need some chefs, right? Some sous chefs. You're going to need some people that are going to be able to come in and do the designs, do the presentation, do the copywriting, do all the actual things to bring the strategy to life. And then you'll have your VAs, your social media managers, and those people who handle the execution and delivery that can now take what has been created back of house and bring it to the customer. But if you keep hiring executors, if you keep hiring waiters without having any strategic managers, you will always be stuck in the day-to-day. The strategic planning will always fall on your lap. And when you start to step away from your marketing, when you're like, F it, I'm not doing this anymore, I just want to hire somebody, and you step away without replacing all of the pieces, there's nobody in your kitchen cooking. Your kitchen is now empty. You have a whole bunch of waiters out front ready to serve, right? You have your VA ready to answer emails, your social media manager ready to post, your ads people ready to do whatever, but your back of house is empty. You have to hire a chef and cooks if you want to eat. A waiter is not going to make you your meals. Okay? So that's the biggest mistake and frustration that I see, and something that I want you to take a look at for your team. Another mistake that you're making is having no documented marketing strategy for your team to execute against. So you want to have a team that doesn't rely on you for every little thing, but you haven't taken the time out to actually sit down and extract everything in your head. Your team is doing a lot of guessing. So they are sitting around looking for guidance. You're looking at them, waiting for them to use their expertise, and they're looking back at you waiting for guidance. So you're constantly just looking at each other, trying to figure out who is going to do what, right? Why doesn't my CEO give me more strategic vision? I don't know what it is that they want me to do. I don't know what it is that I'm striving for. You're looking at them like, I don't understand why my marketing team can't execute without me. I told them that I want to make 5 million this year. I told them that I want to make 10 million this year. I told them that I want to make, 500,000 this year. Like, why aren't they doing it? And you really need to have all of the pieces that are going to allow your team to be able to do what I call an independent self audit, right? Where you have key things in place that set expectations, that help them to understand what their daily, weekly, and monthly tasks and responsibilities need to look like. And then the team can take a look at those documents. They can take a look at the marketing strategy and understand what the target customer is, what the brand voice is, and really be able to understand your business from a bird's eye view really quickly, right? Then they can look at the marketing plan and understand, okay, these are the things that need to happen over the next 12 months. These are the strategic goals for the next 12 months. I need to drive X amount of leads. We want to make X amount of revenue. I need to get the conversion rate to be this, right? And then we have the workflows to support the execution of those two things. But when we just have workflows and we don't have strategy or a plan, we get into that habit of having to micromanage our team and having to lead our team ineffectively, because we're always trying to deliver pieces of the marketing strategy or give them pieces of the marketing plan on like a Monday, team meeting or something like that, where you're dripping out the information instead of sitting down, documenting it all at once, and then handing it off. So without a documented marketing strategy, your team is going to be looking like this. They're going to be stressed. And you are also going to be stressed. You are going to be getting dragged emotionally and mentally, trying to figure out how to get these things to work. Because without the documentation, your team won't have direction. They won't have a good understanding of your vision. They'll keep trying to piece things together on these weekly meetings that you would much rather not have anyway, right? And they will not be able to execute without your constant input, because they constantly have to go back to you to double check. They constantly have to go back to you for clarification. They constantly have to go back to you for direction, versus when you have a strategy and a plan and workflows in place, they go to the strategy, they go to the plan, they go to the workflow to get that direction versus going to you. And then the last mistake is just relying heavily on Instagram for most of your marketing efforts. So you're sick of the constant content creation hamster wheel, right? You don't want to be creating ads. You don't want to be creating reels. You don't want to be creating carousels. You actually just want to get off the internet altogether and just think about the time where you used to be able to use Instagram for your own personal use and fun, but you have no creative energy to even think about marketing in any other way. You don't have any brain space, any brain power to think about what else you can do outside of Instagram. So you just lean on Instagram as a crutch because that's just what you can do quickly, even though it continuously keeps burning you out. So you're trying to throw a work ethic approach to a strategic problem, right? You keep doing stuff last minute. You just keep trying to get things out of the way because you know, well, if I just like put more effort into Instagram, maybe it'll work. Instead of taking a step back and thinking about what else would work with Instagram. What else are the things that I can leverage in my business that are not just relying on Instagram? And to give you an example, we have to understand the difference between creation and distribution and amplification because we're really relying on these social media platforms to do all of the things. So, first we have creation, right? You're constantly creating things in the hopes of gaining visibility or virality, and you're creating just more content for the same people. So, you're posting every single day, just trying to get in front of new eyes, in front of your followers, hoping that you'll end up on the explore page, go viral, etc. This really just requires more of your time and a lot more of your effort. Versus distribution and amplification means let's find what works and let's put that in front of as many people as possible on Instagram and other places. So here's what a creation strategy looks like. You're creating 3 videos a week and you're posting them on Instagram. You're hoping one of those videos will slap and then maybe you'll amplify it and run an ad to one of those videos. With distribution, you create 1 video a week or you sit down once a month and you create 4 videos for the month, and then your team takes that content and repurposes it and distributes it across channels. So they might take that video and create a reel. They'll take that whole video and make a full IGTV episode. They'll take the video and create a thread for Twitter. They'll take the audio from the video and put it on a podcast. Maybe they'll create some blog posts. Maybe they will be able to create some YouTube trainings, right? There's so much that can happen once that one piece of content is created, but because you don't have the bandwidth to distribute and amplify, you keep getting yourself stuck in that constant content creation. Say that 3 times fast. So creation requires you to keep creating new things versus distribution and amplification requires your team to repurpose and use what already exists, right? So which one would you rather do? Create a whole bunch of videos every week for Instagram and hope one of them slaps, or create 4 videos a month and have your team understand how to distribute and amplify it? I would say that it is probably the latter, right? So you need to stop focusing so much on hard work and consistency. You're focusing so much on hard work and consistency instead of figuring out the tactics that you can implement workflows for. If what you want is more visibility, if what you want is more eyes on your content, if what you want is more leads, then think about what are the tactics, right, that are going to support the strategy of getting more leads. Creating more content is not necessarily going to always equal more leads. So you have to sit down and think about, okay, what are the things that we can do as a team internally to work through this? So I'm going to walk you through how to do this in 45 days with the Promoted to CEO framework. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to document, then you're going to hire, then you're going to hand off those responsibilities to different team members, and then you're going to manage those team members. And really, this is the only formula you need to completely remove yourself from day-to-day marketing in 45 days. I know that you might have been in other coaching programs, you might have been taught how to do different things from different mentors, and that's great and wonderful. Now it's how can I take what I've learned from all of these other people and make it work for myself, my life, and my specific business? How can I take everybody else's process and everybody else's system and create a system that works for me and my business, and most importantly, my budget on a day-to-day basis so that I have peace and that I have sanity and I'm also profitable, right? So step one is going to be document. You're going to create an easy to delegate marketing strategy. When you don't document, you become the bottleneck. And when you're the bottleneck, you decrease effectiveness and you plateau revenue. If your revenue is going to be super reliant and contingent on how often you show up and you are burnt out, the revenue is going to plateau because when you don't show up, the revenue doesn't show up, right? So right now, your business probably looks something like this in terms of your workflow. You are approving and creating everything, so you have a super slow drip. There's a ton of ideas, there's a lot that you want to do, but because everything has to go through you and you're only one person, you can only get so much out, right? You're doing everything versus if you have a team that can refer to your documented strategy, that has workflows, that knows exactly how things are supposed to go. Now everybody is working together. So you have multiple team members cranking things out, and your workflow is a lot faster. Your execution feels a lot more intentional, feels a lot less stressful because you're not the only player carrying the entire team. And documentation really is going to provide guidance and set expectations. Again, that's just going to allow your team to execute without your constant input. So, in the framework I teach, for example, your brand voice, when you create your brand voice, that's going to inform your copywriting, that's going to inform ads, right? You're going to create a customer journey map, that's going to inform how your sales funnels are supposed to go, how content creation and distribution is supposed to go. So now your marketing manager knows exactly what they need to be doing every week and every month. Instead of looking at you to give you ideas, they have a customer journey map that shows them, okay, we need to be active on these channels and doing these things. And then another example is creating a documenting something like a marketing calendar that's informing the team what they're doing month to month. So if you already have a 12-month marketing calendar outline, your team can easily understand what it is that they need to do to be able to move forward in that month, in that quarter, to get things done. So by you documenting your actual strategy, you will then be able to create a job description that matches your needs instead of you creating something generic that might not be the best fit. So hiring before you have a documented strategy can leave you spending money inefficiently and also leave you underwhelmed with your team's performance. Nothing is worse than hiring the wrong people in the wrong roles or feeling like you don't have enough to assign to a new hire because you don't have your strategy or your systems organized. So, documenting first will allow you to have a game plan for who you need to bring on and in what order. And during phase two, we really focus on intentional workflow design. So, figuring out between expertise and energy, what are the tasks that you need to be doing as a CEO? What are the tasks that you need to keep in house? What are the tasks that you need to outsource? And what are the tasks that you need to train for? We'll also be doing a strategic team design. And here you'll be able to create your organizational chart and based upon your needs from the intentional workflow design and what skills and tactics and deliverables you're going to keep in house. Based upon that, you will then design what team members are responsible for what things. And this will allow you to, again, become more hands off because now your team members are going to be held accountable and are going to be able to understand what they are responsible for without constantly leaning on you. And these design exercises are super, super, super important because they will walk you through designing your team that actually aligns with your unique business needs, not a one size fits all VA. We've all hired a virtual assistant and are trying to throw a whole bunch of things on their plate. Things are getting not completed on time. They are not completed to the best of their ability or to our desire. And we just end up kind of overwhelmed with the whole virtual assistant. So, by having, again, your strategic team design and intentional workflow design, once you do hire a VA, you are sure that you are training them on the task that you actually need completed for your specific business and business model. Next is everybody's favorite, the handoff. And this picture is literally how most of us feel. We're ready to just hand over the keys, get a cup of wine, and chill. So, in this phase, you're going to learn how to onboard and train with our specific proprietary library of marketing SOPs. So, there are tons of ways to do marketing, but here at One Day CMO, we teach you a very specific set of workflows that can apply to multiple business models and be able to train your new hire for you. And nothing says, I'll just do it myself, more than a non existent onboarding and training process. When you don't have onboarding documents, when you don't have a training schedule, when someone is starting on their first day and you are unprepared, it's easy to get frustrated because it feels like you've just created more work for yourself and you're really just ready to go back to doing it all yourself. And most entrepreneurs really use SOPs just as video recordings or as text recordings of how to do certain things. And oftentimes, those things are really just tech tutorials that your team can Google. Instead, what you should be focused on creating is a library of your own SOPs complemented with our workflows that are specific for growth systems and results that you can expect in your business. So you'll be able to create a list of the SOPs that are unique to your business and are specific to how you want to run things. And then we'll also supplement by providing you with some best practices and workflows on marketing strategy development and management. But one thing that I want you to understand is that in order for you to be hands off, you need to actually have a successful handoff. Often we hire people and we just throw assignments at them, but they do not have a understanding of the results that they are expected to produce or the specific workflow within your unique business. So if you want to be completely hands off after these 45 days, you want to make sure that you actually are onboarding and training your new contractor or employee or team member so that they are set up for success. And I want you to imagine this. I want you to imagine as soon as someone is hired, they get to log into a portal and view trainings on how to create and execute a monthly marketing plan, how to develop campaigns, tracking and analyzing, and downloading all the templates that they need. And they'll have everything very easily accessible and easy to find inside of a portal. They'll know exactly what order to go through things and also be able to find it if they need it for up to 6 months. So they won't just have access while they're getting onboarded, they can refer back to that weeks after they've been part of your team. And I want you to ask yourself, would your new hire be able to hit the ground running on day one? Or are they being thrown assignments with little direction? After going through the exercises, you will really be able to understand how to build a team around your specific workflow so that you're not just assigning them small tasks to do just to get them off your plate, but you're really assigning them a system to be responsible for and a system to manage so that in the event that they ever leave, it's very easy for you to be able to replace them because you're having somebody manage a system, not just a bunch of random tasks. And I want you to ditch the dusty life of doing and step into the management of human capital and results, worrying less about what you need to be doing each day and instead really empowering your team to understand the results that you expect from their roles. And then after you provide the handoff, then you're going to actually manage. Now you're going to have a resource that you don't know how to manage, and that can get frustrating. So by going through this phase, you'll be able to not only understand how you're going to get a return on your investment, but how to manage this specific employee or team member. So whether it's Facebook ads, a social media manager, a marketing manager, knowing how to manage the resources and lead them back to a result is the key in being able to free yourself from day-to-day marketing, being able to know how to provide direction, how to provide KPIs, and how to make sure that you are holding your team accountable is going to be necessary for you to remove yourself out of the day to day and get them operating independently. So during this phase, they'll learn all about data and optimization, and you will learn about what are the different decisions that you should be making as the CEO in order to drive your team forward and drive the results forward. And you really want to understand and help your team understand that everyone is responsible for a result. Your team has to know how to properly track and report out on marketing metrics to determine what the next best steps are. And you, as a CEO, should also understand how to read and analyze the data so that you can make the best decisions on who you might need to hire next, what strategies need to change, what tactics might need to more time or resources invested in, and just how to adjust your strategy based on what's actually happening in real time. And in this phase, you and your team member will learn about the marketing management model, which will show you exactly how to diagnose problems, identify gaps, and understand what next steps are so your team knows how to manage different outcomes and what they should be doing without having to return to you for constant input. So if you take anything away from this short training is that you can and you will absolutely be able to go from the doing it all entrepreneur to a true CEO and leader within 45 days. But the big question is, how can you apply this framework to your business and successfully remove yourself from the day to day? You really are ready to just stop being a content factory, and you're able to have a framework that simplifies hiring and training a lean and competent marketing team. So I definitely invite you to enroll in the Promoted to CEO intensive. It is a 45-day intensive, and I will walk you through what those 45 days look like in one slide. I'm not even going to waste your time or my energy walking you through a super long, unnecessary pitch. With this timeline, you'll be able to see if this is something that you desire and need to implement in your business. So from day 1 to day 14, you're going to be documenting your marketing strategy, developing your 12-month marketing plan, and completing a benchmark audit. After those things are completed, you will submit it to me for review. I will review it and provide you feedback for the next steps. From day 14 to 21, you will complete your workflow team design and develop and post your ideal job description. Here, it's perfect because if you already have a team member that can help support you with some admin work, you can create the job description with my assistant and then hand it off to your virtual assistant to post across the internet to get applications, and you can start interviews and assignments. I always recommend that whenever you are hiring a marketing team member, you provide them with a small assignment or assessment to actually be able to see their skills in addition to the portfolio that they should be providing. After that week of interviewing and getting applications in, you will be able to start to hand off projects, test projects, and again, smaller assignments, and allow this new team member while they're on their trial period to go through the SOP library and workflows. After a week of trialing, testing, and making sure that they are actually a good fit, then you move on to day 30 to 45, where we walk through the marketing management method so that you can understand how to continue to lead your team to hit their KPIs, and your team member can understand what their day to day, week to week, and month to month is going to look like. And again, how they can operate independently without relying on you. So if you're ready to go ahead and move forward, you can go ahead and click the link right below this video so that you can get enrolled, and you will get immediate access and kick off your 45 days starting as soon as you check out.